This is my presentation on lucid dreaming and how to do it. Just a disclaimer, all of these tips and tricks may not work for every single person. Some people never reach the ability to lucid dream in their entire lifetime. Others take years of practice, and some can do it, but only to a certain extent. I've been able to do it since I was little, and these are just some pointers and tricks that help me to lucid dream and I feel like would help others. So first is what you need to start a lucid dream: self-awareness, focus, memory, and observance. The self-awareness is physical and mental. You need to be mentally aware of your surroundings and your emotions because that can play a role in if you're dreaming or not. If you're feeling like extreme fear in a nightmare, you may realize this is really extreme and doesn't seem real, and then you'll say, oh, I'm dreaming. Focus is another thing. While you're falling asleep, you need to tell yourself that you're lucid dreaming and be aware of yourself the entire time you're falling asleep until you reach sleep. And I'll explain that more in a little bit. Memory isn't necessarily needed, but it's very important because if you pick up on something or a small detail or an entire dream that you've had before, that can be a signal in your brain, and then you'll realize, hey, I'm dreaming because this has happened exactly the same in the past. Also, observance, similar to memory. If you notice something like a tip or, like, for example, a weird looking tree in your dream, that can be a tip that you are dreaming. So how to begin a lucid dream? You have to tell yourself in your head while you're laying down getting ready to go to bed that you are going to lucid dream. Make sure you keep that mental voice to yourself in your head. This will help you keep focus and self-awareness while you're falling asleep. You need to keep aware of your physical being. This is while you're drifting off into sleep. A lot of times when you drift off into sleep, you feel heavier and your thoughts start to drift away, and then eventually you fall asleep and you don't remember actually falling asleep. To lucid dream, at least for me, I need to remember the moment I fell asleep. So as I start to feel heavier, I keep alert in my head, if that makes sense. And then I end up lucid dreaming most of the time. But again, this may not work for everyone. So to help with that, avoid any other thoughts that may come in your head. Try to keep, I'm falling asleep, I'm gonna lucid dream, I'm aware of myself in your head. Just keeping self-awareness. This is how to start lucid dreaming while you're already mid-dreaming. So this would be if you didn't use the techniques that I told you to fall asleep and right away start lucid dreaming. This would be you're having, say, a nightmare, or even not a nightmare, it could still work, but usually this happens, at least for me, when I'm in nightmares. Sometimes you can randomly realize you're dreaming. It'll just be something your head tells you, and you'll say, oh, I'm dreaming, and you won't even realize why. But you have to realize that you are dreaming to start lucid dreaming and controlling your dreams. Some tips to start lucid dreaming while you're in mid-dream would be to look for signs that you are dreaming. So examples are if the sky looks weird. So if you look up at the sky and it looks, say, painted or pixelated, that's a sign that you're dreaming. Not everyone realizes this, but they'll look and not even notice, and then they won't reach lucid dreaming. But if you make that note in your head, you can. Another example is try to find a digital clock of some sort. If it reads a number that doesn't make sense, such as 32 o'clock or 108 o'clock, you're probably lucid dreaming. Look into a mirror, your face might look weird. This can be scary, so I don't know if I recommend this to beginners because if you look really disoriented, it can freak you out. This next one I also don't recommend to beginners, and that is to test the skin on your arm. So basically, if you grab a chunk of your skin and pull at it, it doesn't come off of your arm, it just stretches a little. But if you're lucid dreaming, it will stretch a lot, unrealistically. Again, this can be scary. I don't recommend it to beginners. Another tip is you can do something you know you can't do in real life. This is better for if you think you're dreaming but you're not sure. So for example, I'll do a backflip, and if I land it, I know I'm dreaming because I can't do that in real life. But also, if I was not dreaming and I fell, that would be painful. So just do something you know you can't do. What to do now that you've reached lucid dreaming? You can really do what you want. So say you have a nightmare, you can get yourself out of it. You can be friends with anyone you want. If you love Ellen DeGeneres, you can summon her, because you know how dreams are weird, and hang out with her, do what you want. Give yourself superpowers, you can fly, become invisible. Really, the options are unlimited. Or even if you're having a nightmare, you could wake yourself up out of it. I know I do that by blinking 3 times really hard. I always wake up on the 3rd blink. So it's really what you feel like experimenting with. I do want to give a disclaimer that if you do this a lot, some people develop issues with mixing up dreams with reality, and they'll not remember if something happened in real life or if it was a dream. And if this becomes very extreme, it can be a problem. So just monitor how much you do lucid dream if you do reach lucid dreaming or start to do that on the regular.